Prospects and emerging contenders are fighting this weekend at UFC 310, and I'm here to showcase some of the ones I'd like to highlight. First up, we have Bryan Battle, formerly known as Pooh Bear, now known as The Butcher. Crushing someone's hopes and dreams in front of their friends and family, there's nothing quite like it, brother. It's my dreams or his. I know y'all didn't think The Butcher was gonna lose in a fist fight to a French dude. You know what I'm saying? This guy's got quotables on quotables on quotables on quotables. You cannot make this up. This guy is North Carolina through and through. Fighting at a Carolina Combat Sports and Fitness Charlotte Jiu-Jitsu Academy, Bryan Battle is a beloved emerging contender who will be facing Randy Brown this weekend. We all, of course, know him from The Ultimate Fighter, where he was best friends with Ricky Turcios, beat Gilbert Urbina in the finale, which was a replacement opponent, then came back again and beat the actual finalist in Trayshawn Gore. He was the last man picked on the team. We also know him for his Angelusa controversy, where he called him, well, you know what he called him. Every time this man wins, he lets them locks grow out. Every time he loses, he cuts his hair off completely. Man has a tattoo on his side of every one of his wins and every one of his losses, so you know who he is. His first fight was at heavyweight, and he was obese. He was huge, but he still went out there and lost via head kick. And now we see him, and the thing we know him for is head kick knockouts. Now, it seemed like there was nothing that was going to be stopping Bryan Battle until he ran into Hanat Fakretinov, who overwhelmed him with the grappling, sadly. Made him realize that there are levels to the grappling in this game. And what did we see after that? In his hometown, he knocks out Gabe Green in the Charlotte Arena in 14 seconds. I was there in person. It was amazing. The energy was wild, and the post-fight speech was even better. Following that, we have his beautiful, beautiful AJ Fletcher submission where we get to see some of that grappling that he has improved on. And not only that, we got to see how intelligent of a game plan it was. Only throwing kicks in the entire first round made AJ Fletcher's body look red as hell. Obviously, he's as pale as a ghost, but you get the idea. It showed that he was not only a scrapper, he can be a game plan fighter. He's well-rounded. The way he was able to accomplish the submission as AJ Fletcher was pushing him up against the fence with an underhook, Bryan Battle raises his overhook, uses it to start a whizzer kick, and as AJ Fletcher turns his leg out, he uses this to turn the position onto the fence. He then starts blasting him with nasty knees after lighting up his body for the entire first round. Drops to a double leg, switches to the single, drops him down, and as AJ Fletcher threatened the guillotine, Bryan Battle counters beautifully, going to the opposite side of the headlock, and he cradles the legs. And as he gets into half guard, threatens the Kimura on the far side to make AJ Fletcher give his back. And from there, the choke is set in, tapped out. So all in all, in Bryan Battle, you got entertainment, you got tactical, cerebral fighting, and you also got a scrapper all in one. This guy is a fighter's fighter. If you're not picking him this weekend, I feel bad for you, son. Next up, we got Joshua Van, the Fearless, a guy who bust onto the UFC scene by getting a standing rear naked choke in his Fury FC title fight, getting his ticket into the UFC. This was a guy who 6 months prior to that fight had only just learned how to wrestle. This guy pulled out a double leg and was able to get a standing rear naked choke. That is insane adaptability and able to learn quickly. Fighting out of Houston, Texas at the 4-Ounce Fight Club, this guy is a striker at heart. Primarily a boxer, but he has kicks. He actually has head kicks. He has leg kicks. He has body kicks. He is a pressure fighter with a very good high guard. Still probably needing to work on some of those defensive tactics, but it's still there. And he mixes it up to the body and head beautifully. And this is a guy who is also always taking short notice bouts, has had tons of cancel bouts. It's been hard for him to even get momentum. And then once he finally met someone who was at a level that was a lot tougher than he thought, Charles Johnson. He sadly took that KO loss, and it seems like, well, I guess the Joshua Van train is probably going to end here soon. But then we all thought wrong when he steps in short notice for the UFC Sphere card to face Edgar Chairez, who had a 6-inch reach advantage on him. Landed 183 out of his 276 strikes, almost at a 50% clip. That's really good. And after round one, it seemed like his leg was compromised, and he got knocked down in that round. And then throughout the fight, he showed more and more heart, showed adaptability to go to Chairez's body, do something to slow this onslaught down. And in the end, he was given the decision after having one of the craziest rounds of the year. At one point in the fight, when Joshua is finally coming back on Edgar, going to the body and to the head, and it looks like he's going to get him out of there, Edgar, while grabbing the fence, throws the craziest spinning back fist that we've seen in a long time. And even when Joshua is rocked by this spinning back fist, he's cognizant enough to realize as Edgar throws a knee, he catches that and takes him down and narrowly steals the round after crazy back and forth exchanges. This guy is all action. You do not want to miss when this guy fights because he comes to entertain. He just learned grappling. Trust me, he's going to throw hands. And finally, we come to the baby face of the UFC, Chase the Dream Hooper. Now, some of you may be thinking, this guy, he's had his stint at featherweight. Is it really a prospect? But really now we see him becoming a prospect / emerging contender at lightweight now. This is a brand new Chase Hooper, people. But let's rewind back to his featherweight stint. It was a one-on, one-off, 50-50 type of record when you're looking at his featherweight fights. But let's remember, in only his second UFC fight, he had to face Alex Caceres at 20 years old when his striking was still in its baby stages. In the Alex Caceres fight, you re-watch round one, and at 3 minutes and 36 seconds, Chase lands a incredibly hard elbow on Alex and surprises him. Even Joe doesn't realize this lands and thinks it's Chase who's the one who got hurt there. But as you can see throughout the whole fight, Chase is non-stop moving forward on this guy. And keep in mind, in the very beginning of the first round, Chase gets brutally knocked down badly by Caceres and takes damage throughout the whole fight. Knowing that he's a jiu-jitsu fighter, he needs to cut that distance. This is a guy who won Pan Ams as a blue belt. Those are really, really good accomplishments. This is a guy who can get any submission you want. You want a calf slicer, he can get that. You want a rear naked choke, he can get that. You want a Darce, you want a Bravo, you want any of that. He can get it. This is the guy you want if you're betting on submissions. Once he was done with his featherweight stint, he realized, there's too much weight being cut here. I'm 6'1". I'm a massive dude. I need to go up to lightweight. And finally, he makes his move up to the appropriate weight class, and we waited with bated breath. Oh, is our boy Chase Hooper going to keep falling? And ladies and gentlemen, he does not. He puts on a great performance against Nick Fiore, shutting him out after the first round. And he looked like a brand new fighter, bouncing on his feet, not plodding forward, actually looking at where he can land through his opponent's guard. It's a beautiful evolution to watch, and the grappling only gets better. After another win at lightweight, we see he goes up against his toughest test up to that point in lightweight against Borshev. Borshev is a nasty striker. Before taking his first loss to Mark Jacasey, this guy was on a 4-fight KO streak. That is terrifying to deal with if you're Chase Hooper. And then out of nowhere, within the first 30 seconds of the fight, Chase Hooper knocks down Borshev with an overhand right and immediately takes the back in a beautiful sequence. And sadly, we know that the controversial stoppage, it doesn't matter. The performance was magical. It was amazing. People will critique, say, does that happen if he doesn't knock him down? Who cares? He did it. He knocked him down. So if you're looking for a guy who's a BJJ specialist, heavy pressure, who throws extended combination, moves forward, throws with intention as well, with maybe a low bit of caution, maybe that's something we could work on, a bit more caution, but a warrior spirit to come with it. I hope you all enjoyed these prospects and emerging contenders that I showcased here in this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what prospects and emerging contenders that you would like to see in the future be covered.